Gavarirasher Yasyormimatram Bhuvanam Samastam Guhahitam Tam Ramanam Gabhiram Chintavihinam Hridhi Chintayami. Galanti Gangeyam Vimalatarageetaiva Mahato Nagadhishat Srimad Ramana Munirupat Janimati Vathovani Rupat Ganapati Kaver Bhakta Hridayam Samudram Sanyati Prabalamalaharinnyanupadam. What we will apply our minds to this evening is Ramana Gita. And I just now sang a shloka which is in praise of this very work, Ramana Gita. Ramana Gita is compared with the pure Ganga, Vimalatara Gita, Ganga Iyam. This pure Ganga, Ramana Gita, springs from the majestic mountain Sri Ramana and flowing through the poesy of Ganapati, Vasishta Ganapati Muni. This Ramana Gita, the pure Ganga, flowing through the poetry of Ganapati Muni, removes the impurities of those who read Ramana Gita at every step and reaches the ocean of the devotee's heart. Samudram Sanyati Prabala Malaharini Anupadam. I have perhaps spoken a little from Ramana Gita on this platform before. I don't remember very well. Otherwise, elsewhere, I have conducted 5-day lecture series on selected chapters of Ramana Gita. Just as there is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where Sri Krishna is the teacher and Arjuna is the student, in Ramana Gita, Sri Ramana Maharshi is the teacher and the students are not one, not two, but 8 of them. Ganapati Muni, Daivarata, Karshni, Yoganatha, Kapali, Vaidarbha, Amrutanatha, Yatindra. 7 of them men, and all the ladies here should be happy to know. In Ramana Gita, one of the students who asks a very vital question is a lady who is Vishalakshi, no other than Vasishta Ganapati Muni's wife. Now we will see chapter 10, where it is Yoganatha, one of the sadhaks. You see, Maharshi Ramana, I am fond of saying, from the age of 17 to the age of 71, did not go anywhere else. He just stayed by Arunachala mountain. At the slope, or at the bottom, or a little higher, up or down, left or right, he was by Arunachala Parvata. But people came to him from different parts of the country and many from foreign countries also. They were drawn to him like needles drawn to a magnet. Among them, I don't know who this Yoganatha was, but surely he was a very sincere student and he asked a question. And while the other chapters of Bhagavad Gita, rather Ramana Gita, concern themselves with Atma Vidya, self-knowledge, where we free ourselves from the shackles imposed by ourselves, by our mind, due to erroneous thinking, and realize our true nature, which is Atma. This particular chapter, for a change, talks about society and our relation with the society. The society in Sanskrit may be called Samaja. Most Kannadigas know the word Samaja. But another word for society is Sangha. Where many people come together, it is Sangha. And a member of the society is Sanghika. Both the words will come in the text matter, which I shall show through slides also in Devanagari. Sangha, society, Sanghika, every one of us who is member of the society. So, in the 10th chapter, Yoganatha asks a question, and with that, our deliberation will begin on this sacred work. This was mostly questions and answers that took place in the year 1917, long back. Maharshi was just 38 years old at that time, born in 1879. As you know, he dropped his body in 1950. So in 1917, he was just 38-year-old, and the 8 disciples asked him certain questions. Presumably, there were others sitting around and enjoying the uplifting answers, the discussion between evolved students and the enlightened sage. So we will straight away enter the 10th chapter, and I shall now try to present the shlokas in a few slides so that those of you who read Devanagari Lipi without any difficulty can enjoy seeing the verses clearly. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses. Ramana Gita has only 300 verses. Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. Ramana Gita also has 18 chapters. The answers given to the questions given by Sri Ramana Maharshi were put in Sanskrit. Most of it, if not all of it, are in Anushtup Chandas, easy to read. And one more difference between Bhagavad Gita and Ramana Gita is in this particular scripture, most of the focus, emphasis is on self-realization, self-inquiry, living in awareness and attention, living anchored in the pure self rather than in the body, rather than in the senses, rather than in mind. We generally spend our time so much housed in emotions, so much entangled in reactions. But Atma Vidya asks us, do not do that. That's a never ending affair. If you want to control your mind and you are stuck in your mind, that will never happen. Best part is gain the insight. You are not the mind. You are the witness of the mind. You are that awareness where good thoughts and bad thoughts, healthy emotions and vulgar emotions, all kinds of feelings, idea of I am good, idea of I am bad, idea of I failed, or idea of I won somewhere, all of them rise like dust particles in a beam of sunlight. Notice the sunlight. Let go of the dust particles. This is self-knowledge, Brahma Vidya, and much of Ramana Gita is focused on Brahma Vidya. Though the present chapter, I already said, makes a digression to Sangha Vidya, that is the science or the wisdom of relating in a good way with the society. So, Brahma Vidya is dealt with in other chapters. Here we see 10th chapter, Dashamaha Adhyayaha, the 10th chapter. So for the benefit of you are noticing the shlokas, some of you surely have a copy of Ramana Gita at home. You may read all the 300 verses, but here we have the first shloka saying, Yatino Yoganathasya Maharshi Ramanasya cha Dashametra Nibadnimaha Samvadam Sangaharshanam. These are words of Vasishtha Ganapati Muni, who compiled it, just as Vedavyasa compiled and composed the great celebrated dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna into poetic form. Shankaracharya in his Bhashya right at the Avatarnika introduction says, Bhagavan Veda Vyasaha Sapta Shatabhihi Shlokaihi Upanibabanda. Veda Vyasa put together the teachings of Sri Krishna in Sapta Shatabhihi, 700 verses. Here, Vasishtha Ganapati Muni, there it was Vyasa, here it is Vasishtha. Vasishtha Kulodbhava. Vasishtha Ganapati Muni puts it all in 300 verses spread across 18 chapters. Yatinaha Yoganathasya, Yoganatha Yati. And on the other side, like the teacher, Maharshi Ramanasya cha Samvadam. It's a lovely, friendly dialogue. Maharshi was so unassuming. He hardly wanted to sit on a high platform just for the convenience of himself and others, just for simple convenience. He sat on a little table or a stone sometimes, and he spoke to people without any sense of superiority. Dashame, Dashame Adhyay, in this 10th chapter, Nibadni Maha, says Ganapati Muni, we will put together, Nibadni, we will compose some shlokas, this dialogue, this conversation, Sangha Harshadam. This should give happiness to the entire society. This chapter doesn't require much exposure to Vedanta or some Brahma Vidya and so on. This chapter will make sense to anybody who is concerned with social harmony, how we can be good members of the society, contributing to the society's well-being, meanwhile drawing also from the society, how we can have a meaningful, constructive relationship with the society. Sangha Harshadam, Harsham Dadati. This chapter should give Harsha, happiness. And all of us are not ascetics living on the Himalayan slopes. You and I, some of you in Bangalore, some of you in Chicago, some of you in Chennai, and I am today in Goa, and we are not in some forest or on some Himalayan caves. We are members of active societies. Okay, all that is fine. What is the question? Who is asking it? Yoganatha Uvacha. All of you immediately remember Arjuna Uvacha, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, and Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Sanjaya Uvacha we have. But here in Ramana Gita, Yoganatha Uvacha. What is his question? Sanghikasya cha sanghasya kas sambandho mahamuni sanghasya shreyase natha tamevam tametam vaktumarhasi. Sanghika, member of the society. Sangha, the society. Between members of the society and the society, kaha sambandha. What is the relationship? Mahamune, oh great sage. And especially, Yoganatha wants to ask, Sangasya Shreyase, addressing Maharshi Ramana as Natha. He himself is Yoganatha, but Ramana is another Natha. Natha means Lord, Master, Prabhu. Hey Natha, Sangasya Shreyase, for the society to get better, healthier, more harmonious. Please tell me, please throw some light on the relationship between society and citizens. Vaktum arhasi. Vaktum arhasi is a stylish way of Sanskrit language of saying, you ought to tell me, please tell me. Vaktum arhasi means kripaya vada. Please tell me. That is Yoganatha's question. And Bhagavan Maharshi Ramana doesn't say that is not my topic. Just ask me what is Atma, what is Panatma. Otherwise, don't disturb me. He doesn't say. It is said Maharshi Ramana was a very accommodative person. You ask him anything, he will have something to say. And of course, on occasions when he didn't want to say, even if you ask some very wonderful question on Brahma Vidya, he would only look at you, not say anything. But otherwise, he did not have some exclusivity. Don't talk about that, don't talk about this, don't do this, etc. He was so adjusting. Somebody went to him and said, I worship a little village god. All of you are talking about some high stuff. Where do I stand? Maharshi Ramana answered, whatever you worship, do not underestimate it. You may worship whatever Grama Devata, or you some 2 years ago, right? There was this movie Kantara, and there was some Varaha or some some Devata. So that Devata was worshipped. Maharshi Ramana, in that kind of context, said to the visitor, worship that. What is important is your heart should have noble feelings. The God form is not a big issue. How you do it and with what feelings? If you make your mind purer and purer, with the help of that upasana, you will eventually arrive at self inquiry. Who am I will rise in you unexpectedly. You will begin to live in awareness, as awareness, being alert. You will rise above your body and mind. How accommodating, see? Therefore, he had done samanvaya, keeping in mind, of course, the peak of all wisdom, which was or which is Atmajnana. So, Yoganatha asks this, and Bhagavan begins. The third verse goes, Neyaha Shariravat Sangaha Tattadaacharashalinam Angani iva atra vidneyaha Sangikaha Sadhu Sattama. Maharshi, or we call him Muni, Vasishta Ganapati Muni, Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni he was called. He was a Shatavadani, he was an Ashtavadani. He could sit with 100 people in front of him. On some other occasions, 8 people in front of him. And the 8 people would ask 8 different questions from 8 different subjects. In fact, one of the 8 would make a comment or ask a question which is most mischievous, irrelevant. Anybody could lose their composure. But that's part of the Ashtavadana, Shatavadana, Seva, etc. But Ganapati Muni went around India, hailing from some part of Telugu, Andhra Pradesh, or Telangana. He was all over the country well known for his scholarship, and he would answer all that, remembering all the questions and answering one by one in the same sequence. Amazing. Today also we have a Shatavadani R. Ganesh. He does those things. And they are all specially gifted by God how to remember. Most of us, cannot remember the questions. I sometimes go through occasions where somebody gets up and says, I have a question. Though he says, I have a question, he asks 4 questions in his one question. And I typically remember only the last question. I answer the last and then politely ask him, what were your first 3 questions? Sometimes he also forgets. That's another story. Ganapati Muni was a great erudite scholar. I think S.R. Leela of Bengaluru has written a biography of Vasishtha Ganapati Muni. Long back I had read it. It's amazing. Ganapati Muni had some siddhis. He had done great upasanas. And he puts together the shlokas. And why I took his name once more is the structure, the rachana is very similar to Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan Uvacha, that's what you find in Gita every now and then. And just as Sri Krishna would call Arjuna sometimes as Arjuna, sometimes as Pandava, sometimes as Kurusattama, sometimes some heroic, Mahabaho, and so on. Here too, Ganapati Muni adopts a language. Maharshi Ramana may or may not have called Yoganatha, Sadhu Sattama, or he might have said in Tamil or Kannada or Telugu. He spoke many languages. Maharshi Ramana might have said to Yoganatha, uh, "Oh, good sadhu, oh, a good sadhu," and Maharshi rather. Ganapati Muni puts it, "Oh, sadhu Sattama, oh, best of sadhus." To answer your question about the relationship between society and citizens, it's as simple as Sangaha Shariravat Jneyaha. Understand the society to be a body. A body has hands and legs and face and nose and eyes and ears and tummy and hearts. The society is the body, and second half says Angani iva Vijneyaha Sangikaha. The citizens living in a society are like Angani, limbs. All of us are like limbs, and the society is like the body. And then we are described as Tattad Achara Shalinam. Achara, you and I have our own behavioral patterns, our own professions, our own status, our own sthanamana, our own lifestyle. Achara here is more way you live. Some are very orthodox, some are highly atheistic, or they don't conform to any norm. Okay, that is their achara. Tattad achara shalinam sangaha shariravat jneyaha. Sangikaha angani iva vijneyaha. They are to be considered as parts. Whether we are Muslims or Hindus, Christians or Jewish people, whether we are women or men, whether we know Sanskrit or not, whether we have studied Vedanta or not, one thing is common to all of us. We are like limbs and the society is the body. Just as hands are as important as legs, tongue is as important as the nose. If anybody is told, do you mind losing one of the organs today? You have had it for a long time. Let go of one of your ears. I'll take away your tongue. No, we need every one of our limbs. Arthat, every limb plays a vital role. Even if we have two kidneys and two lungs and many things are two eyes, we don't want to part with one so easily. In some extreme cases, when we are so attached and so identified, we love some other person so much, we may donate a kidney. We may donate some other parts of the body. Otherwise, every part is important. Like that, Muslims and Hindus and Christians and Buddhists, Harijans and high caste people and little girls and old men, everybody is important. Sangikaha samajasya sadasyaha angani iva jneyaha samajaha sanghova shariravat jneyaha. What a terrific illustration. I remember once the university in Mumbai, Oh my God, it was 30 years ago. I was a brahmachari in yellow clothes those days. But because I was acharya at the well-known ashram in FOWAI, the university, Vidya Vihar, KJ Somaya Institute, they call it, big campus. And in a big function, they called me, and the topic was something like a spiritual outlook towards society. And I had the honor and privilege of sitting next to the Mathadipati of one of the 8 mutts of Udupi. I don't remember which mutt. He and I were made to sit together. He was a Swamiji in orange robes, very orthodox, Udupi. And I am a brahmachari with nice hair cropped and with a yellow bindi with a japamala. 20 minutes was given to each. And I prepared generally a last minute. While going in the car towards that campus in Ghatkopar, Mumbai, I was thinking, what shall I talk about? Then I had just studied Ramana Gita that time. This sloka, I elaborated. The society is like a body. Every one of us is like a limb. Every limb is valuable. We must live in harmony. We must contribute to each other's happiness, not burn each other's houses, and so on. People appreciated, wow, not bad, and so on. Now Maharshi Ramana himself elaborates, Angam yatha sharirasya karotyupakritim yate तथा उपकारं संगस्य कुर्वन् जयति सांघिकः. Every limb upakaram karoti, upakritim karoti. The hands, the typical example given in such a context is how when we sit for a meal, the hand picks up, let us say, a morsel of rice with sambar, and it doesn't keep it to itself. The hand puts it in the mouth. The mouth has parts which bite the food. Mouth also doesn't keep the food to itself. The food goes in, gets assimilated, and the energy coming from the food that we took reaches all parts of the body. Yatha sharirasya angam yatha sharirasya upakaram karoti yate o yati tatha. In that manner, a Sangika, every member of the society, Yatha-Shakti, to the extent possible, should serve, should offer possible help to Sangha, society. Sangasya Sangikaha upakaram kuryat, sharirasya angam upakaram kuryat, upakritim kuryat. The shlokas here are so simple, and Ganapati Muni is so excellent in expressing complex ideas in simple language. Many of you have heard Saddarshanam. Vaniji took so many classes on Saddarshanam. The original Saddarshanam is very complex, but Vasishta Ganapati Muni put it in simple Sanskrit shlokas, 11 syllables in each pada. It is called one of those meters. So 11 syllables, similar to what is that? Trishtup of uh, Bhagavad Gita, you find that kind of very simple shlokas. Sat Sat Pratyaya Kinnu Vihaya Santam Hridyesha Chinta Rahito Hridakyah Katam Smaramastamameyamekam Tasya Smritis Tatra Dridhaiva Nishtha. Easy to sing. So, same Ganapati Muni composed here in simple words. And in the 5th verse of this chapter, which has 12 verses, Sangasya Vangmana Kayaihi Upakaro Yatha Bhavet Swayam Tata Acharan Nityam Swakiyanapi Bodhayet. Every one of us, in more clear terms, Maharshi advises us in more clear terms, every one of us should serve the society in speech, in thought, and in deed. Thought, word, and deed. What is said in English as thought, word, and deed is given as Vangmana Kayahi. Vacha Manasa Kayena Cha. At times, we must get up and do things. Physically, we have to do. Some other times, it is saying good words. Some other time, it is just having good thoughts. Ayena Vacha Manasa, every citizen should, where possible, contribute to the society. And not only oneself should do, Swayam Acharan Swakiyan Api Bodaye. An elderly member in one family has to tell the younger people, I am doing this, come with me. Let us do some service to the society. On the day of voting, the elderly member should himself go and tell all youngsters, don't go for picnic today because this is holiday. Go vote. Voting is important. Some other time, it may be some donation. Yatha-shakti. No scripture ever asks us to do something which is beyond our capacity, which will jeopardize our own safety or security. When we have a little more, something we can spare, time, energy, money, materials, give it to the needy. Thus, Vang Manakayehi Upakaraha Bhavet Sangasya. One must oneself do. Swakiyan Bodhayet. One must tell those people who listen to one to do the same. Anukulyena Sangasya Stapayitva Nijam Kulam Sangasyaiva Tato Bhutyai Kuryad Bhuti Yutam Kulam. Bhuti means well-being. Sangasya Anukulyena, one must go out of one's way to organize one's own family. Swakula. I said Nijam Kulam. In Sanskrit, Nija means one's own. In Kannada, we use the word Nija to mean Satya. If I ask you, do you think sun rises in the east? Kannadigas would say Nija, Nija. Surya Purvadalli Udaya Agtane. Kannada people somehow took the word Nija to mean true. That meaning is not found in Sanskrit. Sanskrit, whenever you find the word Nija, it means one's own. Nija Graha, one's own house. Nija Kula, Nija Vastra, Nija Manaha, one's own mind, one's own clothes, one's own house. So Nijam Kulam, first see that members of your family are rightly oriented towards the society. They should not be breaking systems. They should be strengthening healthy systems. They should, stand by what is good for the society. Long back in my high school days, I had read a sentence which speaks of how we must always be concerned with our country. And the statement goes like this: your country, right or wrong? If right, keep it right. If wrong, make it right. Because something is wrong in your country, don't walk away or don't do something which makes matters worse. If it is wrong, see how you can contribute towards setting it right. If it is right, see how you can see that this right way your country, your society, your town is running continues. Your country, right or wrong, if right, keep it right, if wrong, make it right. I was very touched by the way it was put. Maharshi Ramana seems to say the same. Sangasya eva tato bhutyai. To ensure that stapayitva nijam kulam, your society, your family is well oriented, and then as soon as you feel, I think we are good now. Now it is time to contribute even more. Bhuti yutam kulam. Tato bhutyai kuryat bhutiyutam kulam. So, in essence, ensure that back and forth you take pains to make the society better and to ensure your family also is doing well. No scripture asks you to be suicidal. For the sake of society, nobody says destroy yourself. Nor should you destroy the society for your sake. It's a very fine balancing act. This balancing act especially represents or it displays Maharshi's outlook. He was Samadarshi. He was so nicely oriented towards all devotees. He did not look at anybody as wow, more preferred, somebody as a nuisance coming here to my ashram. No, his eyes were so full of compassion. Therefore, one of the many shlokas that people wrote and are writing even today says, Nrunam Nidarsanamayam Bhagavan Rishihi. Bhagavan Maharshihi Nrunam Naranam Nidarshanam. He is a role model. It's an example. Studying his life, leave alone his teachings. Teachings are on a higher plane. Studying his life, his straightforwardness, his humility, his unassuming nature, and his being ready to work. He used to go early morning to the kitchen. Sometimes you and I also go early morning to our kitchen to check whether some samosa or pakoda is there. But Maharshi Ramana, they say, used to go maybe 4:30 or 5 a.m. to the kitchen, and some ladies and some men would be at that time cutting some vegetables for morning breakfast and the preparations. He would quietly go and he also would cut vegetables. Every day he would walk up the hill, sweating and then coming down. Very little he would rest. Therefore, he has said somewhere in one of his works, I think in Ramana Gita only, Nalasyam sahajastitau. Another punchline. Sahajasthiti, when you and I let go of our egoism, let go of our complexes, let go of our pretenses and pretentiousness, you and I let go of all kinds of duplicity in us, and Sahajasthiti. We have certain quiet, serene, but alert watchfulness. Then that kind of spiritually desirable state should not be misunderstood as leading to some laziness. Okay, then we are so peaceful. Why should I lift a blade of grass? I just sit in a corner and only thing I'll do is give advice to people. I won't do any work. If somebody imagines like that, there is no greater distortion of spiritual wisdom than that. Sahajastitau na alasyam. Nalasyam sahajastitau. I should look again in which text it comes, but it's a powerful line. 1/4 of a Anushtup Chandas shloka. Nalasyam. In that mature spiritual state, there will not be any laziness. When the body is tired, one rests. That is a physical matter. But you and I many times rest because, as we say, I'm not in a good mood. I'm disturbed. We have just got up and had morning coffee, but I'm very sad today. Again, I want to sleep. That is all psychological ailment. It is rightly said that true spirituality is rising above psychological hang-ups and hangovers and psychological knots, psychological complexities, superior complex, inferiority complex, holier than thou attitude. These are all baggage. So it is said, Bhuti Utam Kuryat. Yoganatha intervenes. He has studied a little bit of scriptures here and there. He has heard discourses and he has heard, especially some scholars, some religious speakers, highlighting peace of mind. Whatever it is, keep calm. That is most important, they say. And it appeals. Yeah, very true. In life, finally, ultimately, what do we want? Peace. Therefore, I want to be peaceful here on earth. So we are carried away by that teaching that peace is important, not money, not power, not doing anything. Whereas some other times, especially the so-called motivational speakers, they also have to be respected. There are every age, every time. There are some speakers who speak on the highest level. Philosophically, they are wonderful. But many a time, it doesn't serve our purpose. Not their fault. Maybe we are not ready for that yet. Many a time, you and I need such teachings which energize us, which awaken the prana in us. I personally believe that great teachers like Sri Ravi Shankar, Sadguru Jaggi Vasudev, such teachers are actually helping lots of people raise their prana level, pranic energy. When the pranic energy rises, you are efficient at office, at home also you are more cheerful, you don't need so much sleep as you used to, and in many ways you are a good communicator, good negotiator. And these gurus say, keep walking, keep doing these exercises, pranayama or something they teach, and you will arrive slowly at something which is higher than mere energy management, something where vairagya, shanti, where staying as the unbiased, watching, witnessing consciousness, etc., become real. But many of these teachers don't spend much time on that higher level. They ask, do this kriya, bend backward, bend forward, hold the breath, walk, be in the sun. And like that, there are motivational teachers. I would imagine that the second quarter of this shloka is about energy management. In the broad outlook towards scriptures, like Adi Shankara says in his introduction to Bhagavad Gita, all spiritual wisdom, he uses the expression, all Vedic knowledge falls in two camps. Two camps. One is Nivritti, that is sannyasa, that is higher meditative practices where you attain peace. And other is pravritti. Pravritti is not sakama karma, nishkama karma. Scripture, shastras, great guidance from wonderful teachers at times make us withdraw and be at peace, shanti. At other times, they inspire us to roll up our sleeves and set some situation right. Motivational. Even Swamijis like me sometimes need motivational energy. We have no enough philosophy. But we too have some laziness. We too have some, wild and extrovert thoughts sometimes. That time we need what is called Shakti. Shantim kechit prashansanti. Maybe I didn't read it. Let me. Yoganatha uvacha. Shantim kechit prashansanti. Shaktim kechit manishinaha. Anayo koguno jyayan. Sangha kshema krite vibho. Oh Vibho. Vibho is someone who is great, who is all pervasive, or who appears in so many forms. Vividam bhavati iti Vibho. Vibho. Yoganatha says, Swami, sometimes I hear such praise of peace. Withdrawal. Get away. Have vairagya. Keep away from all these conflicts. You keep away. You go inward. Kechit, some people, shantim prashansanti. And kechit manishinaha, some other wise people whom also we respect a lot, shaktim prashansanti. They say, live energetically, live fully. Like Sadguru Vasudev, I like his talks. He even says so much about food. He said, don't cook food so much, then what? All vitality in the food is gone. You have killed the food, killed the vegetables. So he talks, if not raw, semi-cooked food and so on. It makes perfect sense. So you are taking vegetables not just for the tongue. Vegetables have energy. Vegetables have such liveliness, and that should make us lively. But if you, for the sake of taste or something else, cook it so much, how will Shakti? You and I need Shakti. You and I need energy. Motivational speakers. Internationally, also, you have speakers like Robin Sharma. He wrote that book, 5 a.m. Club. I read that book and gave many lectures and forgot everything. That's one problem with me. You give me a book, I'll read it, give a few lectures, then forget. But now I am reading a book. Today I read a few pages sitting here in Goa. 5 a.m. Revolution. 5 a.m. Revolution. The Romanian, the man from Romania, has written in English, not in Romanian language. His name is Dan Lucas or something like that. The 5 a.m. Revolution. That's also Shakti. This Robin Sharma who wrote 5 a.m. Club, Dan Lucas who has written 5 a.m. Revolution, and so many such books. They talk about how to live energetically. Get up at 5 and do these two, three things. If you use the first hour of your early morning in a very intelligent way, see how your whole day will be good. Everybody enjoys such teachings and they are true. Though there is many a slip between the cup and the lip. That's a different matter. What they say is not false, but 99 out of 100 who read such books or attend such workshops don't change. That is because of some other impurities in them. Somebody says don't smoke and you say, how nice, you spoke so well. And as soon as you go out of the hall, you take a cigarette. Who can help you? Don't say that speaker was ineffective. Your cigarette vasana was so strong. After hearing a very good lecture on evils of smoking, you went straight out and smoked 2 cigarettes. So that's another issue. But motivational speakers, let me not go too long on it, they serve a great purpose. Majority follow motivational speakers. A very small number follow and are able to live the higher philosophical teachings, which take you towards, moksha. Anayoho ko gunah jayan. Jayan means greater. Which is greater? Ko gunah. Shanti iti eko gunah. Shakti isi dvitiyaha gunah. Sangakshema krite. Which is good for the society. Here, once more, in the last page that I am, not last but one, I'll go quickly through these verses. So, once more, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi synthesizes, carries the things together. He is not one who criticizes bhakti and praises jnana, or criticizes jnana and praises bhakti, or criticizes yoga and no. Yeah, he gives room. He accommodates bhakti, yoga, jnana, karma, this upasana, that chanting. If you go and say chant Saundarya Lahari daily, is it all right? He will say that is very good. That is very good. For he himself was a devotee of Mother Apita Kuchambal, whose picture is shown in the slide. Apita Kuchambal is the name of Parvati in Tiruvannamalai and Shiva Arunachala. So, in the next shloka, he says, 10th chapter, 8th shloka, Swamana Shuddhaye Shantihi Shaktihi Sangasya Vriddhaye Shaktya Sangham Vidhaya Uchaihi Shantim Samstapayet Tataha. He seems to say to Yoganatha very lovingly, look, both are needed in life. Just as some nutritious food, you see, has to have protein, has to have carbohydrated, right proportion, have to have some fat, have to have a few more things, vitamins, etc. Like that, don't say Shanti is important, Shakti is not. Many people do that mistake. They read too much and they try to meditate too much and they then become negligent towards their duty also. Then it won't work. No wonder Sri Krishna also in the Bhagavad Gita categorically dismisses Arjuna's proposal for himself to go to the forest. No. Karma jhayo hiya karmana. Do karma, please. Karmani eva adhikaraha. You belong to karma only, na sannyasi. Karma sannyase tava adhikaraha na asti. Karmani eva adhikaraste. Then mafaleshu is another dimension. If you just take karmani eva adhikaraha, it has two meanings. You belong to karma, not to leaving karma. You must do your karma and not worry about phala. Both meanings are valid. Shankaracharya highlights the first one. That is, Arjuna, at your level of evolution, you don't have adhikara for sannyasa. You will get the adhikara in due course of time if you do nishkama karma. At this moment, you must do karma only. So, for our inner purification and inner peace, inner purification, manashuddhaye, shanti. So, there must be some time, even those of us who are very extrovert, to take a little time off. Otherwise, we pay a heavy price in life. However smart we may be, however healthy we may be, however energetic and rich and this or that we may be, if we don't learn to sit quietly for some 10 minutes in the morning or any time, we have to train ourselves as early as possible to sit quietly, not think about anything. And then, as per your nature, okay, get into work. Shakti hi sangasya vruddhaye. Society grows. If everybody starts meditating, a very interesting proposal, but it won't work like that. A good number of people at any time should roll up their sleeves and fight for justice, fight for the overall well-being of the society. Shaktya sangham vidaya uchchaihi. Uchchaihi, in a very nice way, you must ensure that the society is prosperous. Shakti can be Artika Shakti also, which must be well fortified. Defense. Prime Minister Modi has to not only look into finance ministry, but defense also is important, external affairs also is important, and all the cabinet portfolios are very important. He has to ensure, then only the country will go forward. Likewise, in our life, we must ensure that the society in which we live are is taken care of, and for our own peace, we must work on this Chitta Shuddhi. Therefore, both are needed in two different ways. Yoganatha, he doesn't stop there. Now he asks a question. Sarvasyapi cha sangasya naranam rishi kunjara gantavyam samudayena kim param dharanitale. Dharanitale, on this earth, O Rishi Kunjara, O elephant among rishis, sarvasya api sangasya kim gantavyam. For the entire society, naranam, for all the men and women who are in the society, kim gantavyam, collectively, samudayena. If you want to give some advice to all of them, your message for samudaya, the whole group, what is that? Gantavya here means goal. Gantavya is the objective. Gantavya is the one purpose which they may bear in mind. Kim param deyam, param gantavyam. And this shloka in answer also has a beautiful human value. Human value. I remember in Bengaluru there is Ramana Maharshi Center for Learning. In good old days, I used to frequently go meditate there near Mekri Circle. Those days, for 1 or 2 years, I used to live in RT Nagar. On a scooter, I would go stop by that meditation center near Mekri Circle. Many of you would have gone there. And I became well known, or I became a bit close to the head there, A.R. Natarajan. And sometime he brought out some some kind of calendar or some kind of publication, and he had put this Saubhratram Samabhavena Gantavyam Paramuchyate as the slogan there. And I noticed, I first wondered where it is from. Very soon I found out it is from Ramana Gita, and I deeply appreciated. Samudayena sarvasya sangasya tanudharinam saubhratram samabhavena gantavyam paramuchyate. Collectively speaking, because individually each person has her own or his own personality. Their sadhanas vary. But collectively, all members of the society should have one goal, that is Saubhratram. Bhrata, Bhratra means brother. Swasra means sister. But by saying Bhratra, Swasra is also implied. All of us should live like brothers and sisters, irrespective of professional differences, irrespective of differences in color, caste, creed, irrespective of various political ideologies which we may appreciate. But we are all brothers and sisters. So, Bhratrena. And though at a certain level, some may be earning more, some may be earning less, some may be very talented, some are not gifted in any manner. Doesn't matter. Though all that is not so important as you imagine. Irrespective of the differences, we are equal. On a certain level, on a deeper level, we are all equal. We are children of the same God. Saubhratram Samabhavena. Brotherhood centered in a sense of equality. This is the goal collectively for all human beings, for the society, Tanudharinam, for all of us who are embodied. What is the greatness of Saubhratra? The shloka explains. Saubhratrena parashantihi anyonyam dehadharinam tadeyam shobhate sarva bhumirekam graham yatha. Simple Sanskrit. Ekam graham yatha. Like one house, one family. The whole earth. Shobhate sarva bhumihi. The whole earth would look so beautiful. There is such beauty, such charm, such, happiness everywhere when this goal, this objective is kept in mind. What is that? Saubhratrena. Remembering all the time, we are brothers and sisters. We must not fight. We must not burn each other's house. We must learn to sacrifice at times rather than grab somebody something in, in an irresistible urge and then cause all complications. Anyonyam dehadharika. In this way, you find in this chapter, there are certain noble human values which are highlighted in the frame of reference of the society. Many chapters of Ramana Gita end with a concluding shloka, which says, interestingly, the date and month and indirectly year also of this particular dialogue. When did Yoganatha and Maharshi Ramana talk like this to each other? Abhut panchadashe ghasre samvadah soyamashtame Yoganathasya yatino maharshescha dayavatah. Maharshi is Dayavan, of compassionate Ramana Maharshi and this Yati Yoganatha. Between them, on this Gasre perhaps means hot day. Gasra is not translated in the book that I have also. But see, Ashtame means in the month of August, the Christian calendar. And Panchadasha means August 15. So which year? I'll come to that. That's interesting, therefore I'll come to that. Yoganathasya Maharshehe Samvadaha Abhut, Abhavat, happened. So August 15, Ashtame Mase, Panchadashe Dine, Kasmin Samvatsare, which year? That is our last slide, for which I have to go to which chapter? Third chapter. In the third chapter, the year is mentioned in a coded language. Therefore, I'll take 2 minutes to explain it. Isha Putra Shake Shaila Bhumi Nanda Dharamite Saptame Saptame Soyam Samvado Abhavat Adbutaha. That is third chapter. In the third chapter, there was a dialogue between another disciple, Daivarata, and Maharshi Ramana. So the second half of this shloka being shown in the last slide, Saptame Saptame, the seventh month and the seventh day, July 7th. And the present dialogue, Ashtame in the eighth month, that is August, and Panchadashe, 15th date. But the first half of the shloka, which we borrow from the third chapter, coded language. Ishaputra Shake, going by Christian calendar. Ishaputra is Yesu or Jesus Christ. In the Christian calendar, if you refer to, Shaila, Bhumi, Nanda, and Dhara. Three are mentioned. Mite means defined in that way. Mita is defining, putting a boundary. So to decode this, it's a coded language. You start backwards. Dhara, earth. How many earths? Only one earth. Nanda, Nava Nandas are talked about in some literature. Nava Nandas. There are 9 Nandas. Bhumi, how many Bhumis? Again one. And Shaila, Sapta Shaila, Saptagiri. I think Tirupati also there are some 7 hills. Saptagiri is an expression all of us are familiar with. So move backwards. 1917. So 1917 is the year 1917. 1917. So in the year 1917 in the Christian calendar, in August, on the 15th day, this dialogue, so it says, Samvadaha Abhu. So there is some poetry, there is some literary beauty to all these compositions, but to you and me, most important are the values of life by which we become more integrated, disorder in our life goes away, and then there are teachings of self-inquiry where we reach even a higher plane where our ego subsides. So society and some wisdom about it has been seen. We saw it into this evening session. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.